Magandang gabi po. I'm just going to check audio for a short while and we'll get started. Today is March 29, 2021. And ano na nangyari sa aking Facebook? Parang nag-freeze na kami. Ayan. Magandang gabi. Hi, Ma'am Mia. Sa Introvert's Kitchen. Hi, magandang gabi din. And thank you for the birthday greetings. Greetings from now from your silent taga-subaybay from Slovenia. Uy, ang ganda yata dyan. John Valdez, Mo Agla, to Lemuel Sobrepeña, Beck Burnley, Yingli Polon, Ruthie, Peter James. Ayan na, ang dami nyo na. Okay, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Today is the 29th of March at madali po tandaan, aside from what we're celebrating today, which I'm going to thank everybody for later on. Ngayon po ay anibersaryo ng ng ano ba yan? New People's Army, the NPA. Meron silang tawag sa kanila. So, and the NPA was founded in 1969. So, may mga statements, of course, na lumalabas tungkol dito. But at the same time, medyo nalunod lang because currently nga, uh, nag-birthday pa tayo. So before everything else, gusto ko po magpasalamat sa lahat po ng bumate ngayong araw na ito. Every single one of you, you made feel really special. And I would also like to thank everybody who sent anything, maging birthday greetings man yon o yung nagpadala ng strawberry tart. At saka kung anik-anik pa, maraming maraming salamat. Panahon po ng COVID. So, ang request ko, my birthday wish for today is that everybody please take very good care of yourselves. Observe yung ating mga protocols. Okay, thank you, Sir Bobby. Uh, Observe all the protocols, hand washing, social distancing, face masks, and if possible, to stay at home. Also, wag masyadong masungit kasi things are hard enough. Wag naman po sana tayong masyadong kumbaga we're all bearing the burden of itong panahon ng COVID. Hindi po ganun kadali and many people ay medyo hirap ngayong mga araw na ito. Penitensya talaga dahil Holy Week ngayon. But ang request ko na lang is yung konting extension ng mga pasensya natin, ng pasensya natin, kung kaya pa. I know that some people have heavy burdens, they don't have work or hindi po ganong kadali ang trabaho, hindi po ganong kadali ang pera ngayon and sa iba medyo hirap ang negosyo. Gayun pa man, sana po konting pasensya tayo sa isa't isa. It's not easy, hindi tayo madalas dumadaan sa isang pandemya. So, konting lang, paalala lang about social distancing and face masks and try to stay at home as much as possible. Yung i-prevent na lang natin yung mga unnecessary travels. So, I hope everybody is being safe. Okay, tinatanong ni Roldan if I'm live also on YouTube. Yes, as far as I can see, I'm live on YouTube. Let me double check. Yan. Problema na naman ang aking YouTube. Ang hirap mag-manage ng YouTube kapag kapag nag-iisa ka. So, i-double check ko lang 'yan. Okay, in the meantime, patingin muna ng mga aside from the usual, meron tayong okay, wait, hold on. Pinapa-prompt ako na naman ng Google as usual. I don't know why it's doing this. Hold on. That view. Oops. Ang dami na namang kalokohan itong aking okay, never mind. Forget it. I can't check my YouTube right now. Pasensya na po, hindi ko ma-check on. So those who are on YouTube, could you please tell me if the is okay, if the broadcast is okay? Otherwise, we're going to have to ask for help again. Or we might have to turn this off and then check again later on. Kakairita talaga to. Magpapa-verify na naman siya. iPad. Okay. Ayan. So, what's going on? Yes. Sorry, ayan, sorry, ayan, na-verify na, pasensya na po. Okay, loud and clear naman daw, and hi to Ghastly. Ano ba yan? May kumakalat na post na patay na daw si Jepoy aka Madam Claudia. Well, right now I've heard about that rumor pero hindi ko pa po na-verify kung totoo. I will ask bukas sa mga sa mga taga-Yesesyo because they know him a little better than I do. Hindi ko siya masyadong nakakausap noon. Magkasunod lang kami ng programa when he was still with Yesesyo. Sabi ni Jess Aranza, tinatanong ni Nelson Lecana sa program niya, bakit daw nasabi mo anti-poor ang paglagay ng standard sa mga, sa ano yan? Sa mga spam roof. Oh, okay, okay. Ah, sige, let's talk about yung sa yero. For on that matter, first of all, ino-oppose ko along with the industry users ang Department Administrative Order ng DTI number 20-10. Bago kasi po siya at tinatalaga niya na merong certain grade to be used for roofing materials. Sinasabi ng DTI na because dapat may grade na yun, yung 4 millimeters na pwede lang gamitin para sa bubong ng bahay, hindi na po inaalaw yung pagpasok ng ibang mga yero dito sa bansa. Marami pong industries na gumagamit ng yero na yon, marami pong industries na gumagamit ng lesser grades na yero, including the automotive industry at saka yung ibang mga tao na gumagamit nun, not necessarily for human habitation. And these are for small businesses at saka yung mga marginal businesses, micro businesses, and so on. So, tumataas po ang presyo ng mga yero, ng mga ginagamit para sa mga negosyo na yon, halimbawa yung copra industry sa pagdadry ng ating copra. So, yung mga gumagamit ng mga ganon are usually from the marginalized sectors. Dahil tumataas ang costs ng kanilang pag-negosyo, then it is anti-poor kasi ang mga nag-hire ng mga ganon are usually agricultural workers and marginalized workers. So yes, they are anti-poor. Even those who would like to use din sa mga ganun na yero, hindi na po nakakagamit and they are compelled to buy the higher priced ones. It's also anti-competition. Okay? No problem with questions like that. We're ready naman for answers. I hope that they were kind enough sana. I wish they were kind enough to have asked me personally. Pero gayon pa man, kung parinig lang sa ganon, I'm glad that you were able to ask me. Maraming salamat, marami pa rin pong babate. Anong masasabi nyo sa naiinggit sa lechon? Well, nag-post naman tayo early on. Nag-umpisa kasi yung mga hirit na ganyan over yung post ni Senator Bongo. Ang post ni Senator Bongo was that may simpleng celebration lang po si presidente sa kanyang bahay, and therefore parang sabi niya, ito simple lang, yung kandila na sinaksak nila dun sa parang nakapormang rice, tapos so it was just showing na nakapambahay, nasa bahay lang si presidente. Then people took parang suddenly na-trigger yung mga nasa kabilang parlor, yung mga parlorista doon sa kabila. Triggered sila kasi sinasabi na hindi yan simple. Now here is the point kung bakit nagmumukhang cheap yung kanilang it's a cheap shot. First of all, ang sinasabi lang naman ni Senator Bongo is that this is just kumbaga, a celebration like ordinary people celebrate. Hindi siya ostentatious, hindi siya mahal, hindi siya yung bongga. Well, for two reasons. Number one, simple lang naman talaga ang presidente, hindi naman siya yung type na gusto pang nagpapaparty ng bonggang-bongga. And number two, panahon nga ng pandemya ngayon. So, anything na ostentatious would be considered offensive. So, ngayon, ang sinasabi ng kabila, hindi simple yan. And they're grasping at straws. Sinasabi, ayan, may lechon. Kaya hindi yan simple kasi may lechon. Hindi yan mura lang kasi may lechon. And then later on, when it was pointed out na hindi kasi ordinaryo lang sa halos maraming tao na particularly kahit middle class ka, di ba? Magkakaroon ng, some people really want to celebrate with lechon. O, di sige. Nung natapos yung ganong klaseng argument, medyo natatalo sila. Ngayon, kung ano-ano na yung hirit. Yung gaming chair daw, mahal daw yun. Yung upright na aircon na nandun daw sa kanto ng kwarto, mahal daw yun. So, hindi yan simple. Ang sinasabi ni Senator Bongo was that it was a simple celebration. Hindi siya yung may mga cast of thousands pa na kung alik-alik dyan. Hindi yung mga 10,000 yung potahe, which would have been normal because we have a president, di ba? We're talking about a guy who is president. He could very well have celebrated his birthday in Malacanang, surrounded by officials, surrounded by whatever. Pero panahon nga ng pandemya and hindi niya style yon. That was the only message. Pero dahil siguro sa kakulangan ng ibabati ko sa ating presidente kung ano-ano na yung pinoint out, aircon, gaming chair, and so on. And we really don't need to get involved in that kind of argument. Ang ibig sabihin lang po niyan is that naghahanap talaga sila. Gusto lang nilang magalit and therefore kung ano na lang ang makita nila, yon ang ikagagalit nila at i-interpret nila lahat po yon. Okay? Pa-check naman ang iba nating ano. Sabi daw ng isang profesor na dating nagsasalita sa radio program namin, okay, so you're talking about Prof. Contreras, na insensitive o malicious yung angle ni Bongo. I don't know what he said. Baka, I would really like to see what he actually wrote or to hear what he actually said bago tayo magkomento. Hindi po tayo nagkukomentaryo para makipag-away sa ibang tao, maliban lang kung inaway nila tayo personal, ano? Pero, and even then, magdadalawang isip tayo. Kaya po tayo naggaganito para magpaliwanag at hindi rin natin pakay na makipag-away sa iba't ibang tao na nasa ibang mga programa, 'di ba? O kaya ng mga dati nating mga kasamahan. We don't do that. It's not really our nature to do that. Ito sabi ni Dan, bakit di nila binabati ko si Chris Aquino na breakfast nga lang 'yun, may lechon pa? Well, it's because the president is a political figure and ripe for commentary. Ano ba naman ang ikukomento natin kay Madam Cristeta at this time, di ba? Sabi ni Jack Rivera, belated happy birthday. Hindi po, birthday ko pa po. 12 o'clock pa natin masasabi yung belated. Okay. Ma'am Amelia is watching from Japan. 75 years nang nakakulambo. Nagre-reklamo pa ang mga oposisyon. Sabi ni O.T. Christy Luis. Very well said. Tama po yun, di ba? Ito yung presidente nagkakamay pag kumakain. Ayun, nung nakunan siya ng picture ng kapambahay. Diba, if he really wanted to be a little more bongga, sana nagbihis man lang siya, diba, yung mga medyo may collar na t-shirt or something like that. But he's not, hindi po niya style yon. Yun lang naman po ang sinasabi dito. Wala rin namang sinasabing si Senator Bongo na na isang payak na selebrasyon o itong cheap lang celebration. Ang sinabi niya, simple lang. And he was talking about the celebration, not the furniture. So, ewan ko, some people just are looking for a reason to be angry. So, yung para sa akin, sige, fine, well, papatol ako, pero ang papatulan ko is the fact that they are making mountains out of molehills. And what does that mean? Ibig sabihin, nagpapalaki na lang kayo ng isang maliit na bagay dahil wala na kayong pwedeng ibatikos na iba. Diba? Aral kayo. May isa akong friend, sabi ni Red October, nag-comment sa pic na napunta daw yung handa sa Lazy Boy na nasa likod as if hindi kaya bumili ng pangulo ng Lazy Boy. Diba? Really? You're talking about furniture now? For all you know, sino ba anong resibo mo na siya ang bumili nun? Loka kayo, what's going on? Diba? And well, we know what's going on. What's going on is that there are elections coming up. Okay. Bigay po yung lechon from Jaya's Kitchen. Yun. Di bigay pa pala. Palagay nyo may scamdemic na nangyayari? Guys, hindi ako naniniwala that there are no, okay, ganito. Maraming salamat. Sino ba 'tong nagbigay? Lloyd Loreto, maraming salamat sa ano, nandun siya sa YouTube namin where there is a super chat or super sticker. So nagpadala siya ng happy birthday. Thank you very much. Anniversary daw nila ng wife niya na si Pixie. Alright. Naku, nawala yung train of thought ko. Sa scamdemic? I don't know what you mean by that. But meron akong kaibigan na dumalaw the other day. She and her entire family got COVID. Ang sabi pa sa akin, dati hindi po ako naniniwala na may ganyan. Until ayon, nakuha ng Diyos, napatunayan sa akin. So ayun, ospital. Halos yung husband niya was in critical condition. Siya din, pero hindi nag-necessitate ng ICU. So eventually, she was allowed to go home after a few days, pero naggagamot sila. So, I really don't want to feed into people's fears about conspiracies and yung mga pandemics, yung mga ganyan. Hindi po yan nakakatulong because ganito yun eh. We know that people are dying and that there is scientific evidence to indicate that there is in fact an pandemic of proportions that have not been seen in quite a while. So, hindi po nakakatulong sa ngayon, and although hindi namin pinipigilan kung dun sa paniniwala ninyo, if you really believe in that these things don't really exist, okay lang. Pero wag sana na mag-spread tayo ng takot or causing people to fear or to distrust government because this is a very bad time for that to happen. Si Vic Strauss Ibay is watching from ang bilis ng comments dito sa Facebook. Thank you kay Bench McNabs. Nag-happy birthday din siya. Yung mga bashers siguro, sabi ni Ian, walang pang-lechon. Oo. Ayun. Sabi ni Ma'am Belen, kung mahanap ko uli yung comment ninyo kasi ang bilis-bilis po dito sa Facebook. We'll just have to do it here sa StreamYard. Natalie Malpases, ID ko pala kayo dapat batiin. Ang saya na ng sangkalupaan sa iyong kaarawan. God bless and keep that kilay alive. Thank you. We will do our best to keep the kilay alive. Maraming salamat. Ang dami pa rin nag-happy birthday. I'm telling you, every time somebody greets me, natutuwa naman ako. So, naghahanap talaga ako ng any reason para maging masaya kasi nga, there are also a lot of reasons para hindi tayo maging masaya. Pero dahil Pilipino tayo, we're one of the happiest people on earth. Hindi ko alam kung bakit. I guess nasasanay lang tayo talaga sa hirap. Yung mga bashers na walang nagmamahal kasi walang nagpa-lechon for them and bumabati na buong bayan. O nga naman. Issue nila sa lechon, si Delima nga nagpa-subo ng sabay. O nga naman, parang may connection. Pero sige, anything na lang, any reason for us to be happy, which gives me another thing that I want to say, of course, mag-i-eleksyon. Ito yung nakakatuwa is that somehow, yung mga pro-government have managed to stay together. This is unheard of, di ba? Ang daming nagsasabi, ang Pilipino hindi daw kayang magkaisa. Have you heard these comments, di ba? Hindi daw natin kaya mag-unite for the country and all that. But guess what? In the past 5 years, we actually have. Di ba? We have stood in the face of opposition, nagdesidido sila na pahirapan yung bansa or mag-force ng revolution na naman and so on, or mag-compel ng pagpapalit ng administrasyon in the middle of everything na sana yata po sila dun sa mga EDSA revolutions at volume 27,000 or whatever. Di ba nasanay sila sa ganon na pag ayaw nila, kung sakasakaling nagkaroon ng tsamba at ang taong bayan ang nanalo sa eleksyon at nakaboto ng tao na gusto nila, ay hindi, papalitan natin ang liderato, di ba? So means that are not necessarily true or correct. Di ba? So, ay nako. Yung mga yan, we've managed to hang together. We've managed to stay united. So, and you know how we've done that? Because we have learned to roll and learned to take issues separately. So, halimbawa, meron tayong issue, let's say, with the Secretary of Health. Merong iba na pro-administration, ayaw nilang tanggalin si Sec. Merong iba sa atin na pro-administration and gusto naman natin tanggalin si Sec. So, we deal with that as an issue separate of itself. Pero dun sa bigger picture niyan, lahat tayo pro-government pa rin. So, yun, and we have managed to stay steady all throughout. Ngayon, mag-i-eleksyon. So, ang mga hirit dyan sa labas ay ang intention nito, some of that, ang intention ay to disunite us kasi pagka hindi tayo united, mas madali para sa kanila mas madali para sa kanila na buwagin yung samahan natin. And ang nakakatawa niyan is this isn't even a formal na samahan. It's just that ang dami sa atin who think alike and are supportive of this government and of this president. 'Di ba? Ang presidente nga natin, 'di ba? He makes mistakes as well and we're allowed to criticize him with the intention of making his government better. So, watch out for the election rhetoric coming and some of them will be seeking to divide us. Pwede naman tayong hindi magkakasundo on certain issues, but in the end, we still support the government. So, yung mga away vloggers, mga ganyan, we can move past that. Of course, okay lang, the chismosa in us, we want to watch, we want to see kung ano yung away, but in the end, we don't allow them, we don't allow these issues to break up itong support natin for the government. Sabi ni Nguyen Yu, DTI po ba ang kailangan mag-specify ng requirement ng yero? Very good point. Hindi po ba naka-specify sa building code? Bawat munisipyo may kanya-kanyang building code standard. Actually, hindi po. There's a single building code and you are right. Pagka sinasabatas yung ibang mga standards na yon. Merong Bureau of Public Standards that can set standards for certain things, like for certain, how do you call this, building materials, yung kunwari, yung mga bakal na ginagamit and so on. However, in this case, yung Bureau of Public Standards suddenly set a different standard for roofing materials for human habitation na hindi po maliwanag kung ano yung ginawa nilang basihan and why they suddenly changed. So, yun po yung ino-objecta natin sa Department Administrative Order 20-10. Maraming salamat nga pala for those who are really interested in this issue kasi nga po maraming maaapektuhan and even as we speak konti na lang po ang nakakapag-import because ang dami-daming requirements. Actually, konti ang nakakapag-import dahil yung mga nag-e-export sinasabi, bakit ang dami ninyong kailangang papeles sa amin? Because dun sa Department Administrative Order, ang dami ring sinet na requirements which violates the Ease of Doing Business Act. So, ang daming problema dito sa Department Administrative Order na ito. That's why ino-objectan po natin. But in spite of my objection and the objection of the industry, walang nagsasabing patalsikin ang gobyerno o palitan natin ang gobyerno and all that. We're still very happy with this president and with this administration. We would just like to change some things for better governance. And there's nothing wrong with that. Eto, sabi ni RJ Manzano, na ang bilis na naman ng komentaryo. Magkaiba po yung sinasabing simpleng pamumuhay at mahirap na pamumuhay. Si Ma'am Hanilet ay distributor ng meat noon sa Davao kaya hindi issue na magkaroon ng lechon sa kaarawan ni PRRD. Mga maliit na bagay ginagawang issue para madagdagan ang galit sa presidente, sa Pangulo. Kanina lumabas sa balita na bastos daw yung pagbibiro ni PRRD sa kasambahay niya. Ito yung tanong, nagrereklamo po ba yung kasambahay? Yes, we can comment on that, on what it looked like, pero para sa akin, until magsalita yung kasambahay at ma-explain ng ating Pangulo, it might not be what you think it is, diba? So we don't know what it was. We have to let things be clarified, and if not, then it's really up to you to interpret it in the worst possible way or in the best possible way. Pero ang tunay na complainant dyan will be the person who feels harassed. Nagsasalita ba yung taong yon? Or are they presuming that they know better than the alleged victim? Ano ba? Di ba? Sabi ni Lowell Arevalo, we're different because of our opinions, but we're still united and they cannot divide us. Anyways, happy birthday. Ay, maraming salamat po. Can you talk about the impeachment of Justice Leonen? Well, officially, the complaint contains the certain observations made by the complainant, Edwin Cordevilla, and he's represented by Attorney Larry Gadon. Uh, Now, the speaker has sent a notice to the majority floor leader, or yes, to calendar for official business and transmit it through the plenary to the Committee on Justice. Bale, it was sent to the Committee on Rules so that it can be sent to the appropriate committee. And in this case, yung tamang committee na yan is the Committee on Justice. Thank you kay Ozzy Debil, okay, sa ating super chat. Okay, so may mga nagsasabi na why did it take so long and so forth. Well, let's see kasi right now I don't see any reason, well not yet clear but I have to double check kung may violation sa rules dun sa tagal, but as far as I can tell, hindi pa po siya paso. I don't know how to interpret the yung tagal, but it's also possible that it might be COVID related at marami pong inaapura din na ibang legislation. So, but that's all I can say about that. Well, of course, the complaint, we all know what it contains. It's the observations of Justice Leonen's behavior in the Marcos case, as well as his actions and his behavior on the Marcos case, and of course, his backlog. So, yun yung primary na kino-consider na centerpiece ng complaint ni Mr. Cordevilla. And ako, I'm very interested in how this is going to turn out. Sabi ni Ma'am Cristel, dapat malaman ni Trillanes at ng mga dilawan, ang lechon ay ordinaryo lamang. Teka, nasa mo yan. Naku, ang bilis na wala. Sandali. Ayun, si Ma'am Cristel says, lechon sa Davao ay staple at ordinaryong pagkain lamang. Susme, kahit pag ginamos ang handa ni PRRD, may masasabi pa din yung mga yan. Happy birthday. Ay, thank you very much. Oh, I understand that. And para sa akin, ano naman, kahit maging sabihin mo pang extra special, supercalifragilistic special, yung hinanda na pagkain, isn't he entitled to that? O si Senator Go ang binabatikos ninyo, di bakit dinadamay ninyo ang presidente? Ano ba naman yan? I think not only, no, I think minsan nakakalimutan ng mga kritiko na ito na maging makatao. Alan Joel Aniceto says, matatawag po bang paglabag ang ginawa ng mayor namin na si Mayor Alfred Romualdez na ang purpose naman niya sa pagbabakuna ay to encourage others na nagdadalawang isip na magpabakuna. Sa ngayon po, hindi pa ganong kalaking issue yung pagdadalawang isip kasi very limited pa yung supplies ng vaccine. Ang problema is hindi sila talaga listed as frontliners and therefore kahit paano, meron silang nilabag na patakaran. I know that some of you like your mayors or love your mayors, but until a rule has been set in place designating them as frontliners, hindi pa po sana dapat sila nagpabakuna or they could have at least asked for an exemption to the rule explaining na ganito yung purpose nila para sa pagpabakuna. Happy birthday, sabi ni Eliezer Monroy. Pa-discuss naman yung epekto ng veto ng presidente sa provision ng batas. Anong mangyayari sa buong batas kung napirmahan din naman to? Ang ginawa ng presidente is a line item veto at ang pinag-uusapan ninyo ay yung create law. Sa create law po kasi, pagka tax measure kasi at saka or the General Appropriations Act, pwedeng line item veto. Hindi mo kailangan i-veto yung buong batas. Sa ibang mga batas, bawal po yun. So, kailangan i-veto mo the whole law and it goes back to Congress. Congress would either retool it or override the president's veto with a 2/3 vote. So in this case, in-exercise ng presidente yung kanyang line item dito. So the rest of the law is still valid and enforceable, effective and enforceable later after publication. And it doesn't affect the other provisions. So okay lang yun. Allowed po yun ng batas. Let me see. Okay. Ayan. Ano ba to? Meron pang nagsuspam, nakakairita. Naintindihan ko pag naiinis kayo dun sa mga spammers. Sabi ni Aisat Saki, hindi ako naniniwala na mga, ay, nako eh, Diyos ko, sorry, nababasa ko tuloy yung mga spammers, pasensya na po dahil nag-iisa ako dito. Okay, let me check dito naman. Sabi ni Ma'am Sabuanga Hermosa Files, kasi dapat po ang kandila sa lechon itunusok and then blow out the candle. Kaloka, di ba? Pati yung mga ganon. Sabi ni Ma'am Anna Chan, according to my sister-in-law, sa Toronto pala may lockdown pa din sila. Medyo ease lang yung restrictions. O, iyan. Si Trillanes, hindi makatao, sabi ni Elmer Maranan. I think they are tao. I'm 60 years old and first time we have a president like PRRD. They think they could do better, not in a million years. Iba po yung tao sa may pagiging makatao. Humane po yung pagiging makatao. But I understand your point. Thank you very much po kay Sir Elmer. Majority of our Holy Week traditions, sabi ni Ian Poral, majority of our Holy Week traditions po ba natin pumana ng mga Spanish colonizers or do we have localized traditions for Semana Santa? Paano tayo magkakaroon ng Semana Santa kung wala pa yung mga Kastila? Sila yung nagdala ng Katolisismo dito. Diba? Hindi magkaka-Holy Week pagka ganon. Unless you're thinking about yung mga Siquijor rituals and all that. Okay, let's talk about what we call the local shamanistic practices. Okay, iba-iba po, depende po sa cultural community. So, yung mga, albularyo, or how do you call this, antingeros, mambabarang, and so on. Dun sa mga mambabarang, meron tayong shared na traditions with Mexico. So, they're probably as old as Spanish colonization. Did we have traditions before that? Merong mga tinatawag na lihim na karunungan o katutubong karunungan ng lowland cultural traditions. And we're talking about some of the Tagalog traditions. Ito po yung mga, pag binasa mo yung kanilang mythology, ay may halo na ng Katolisismo. Pero, yun po ang ginagamit nilang figures. Pero if you look into the mythology, ito yung mga antingeras na lokal. Titignan nyo yung kanilang mythology, merong tinatawag na Diyos na di binyagan at Diyos na binyagan. May Diyos sa bato, Diyos sa tubig, and so on. Na naghahabulan pa yan. Merong entire mythology about that, which talks to us about traditions that were here before Spanish colonization at bago nagkaroon ng mga binyagan na tao dito sa Pilipinas, di ba? Bago tinanggap yung Katolisismo o Kristyanismo dito sa Pilipinas. Ang ginawa is nag-syncretize or hinalo nila yung mga tradisyon na ito, ginamit yung mga how do you call this? Yung mga expressions ng Kristyanismo, ginamit yung mga tao, ginamit yung mga figures, Diyos Ama, Diyos Anak, di ba? Meron pa sa mythology natin dun sa lihim or katutubong karunungan, babae po yung Diyos Anak. Pero para bumaba siya dito sa lupa, ginawa siyang lalaki dahil dadanas siya ng matinding kahirapan. At baka daw hindi kayanin kung dun siya in the feminine aspect mag-manifest. So may mga ganon. So we're talking about some traditions that were here even before Christianity. Ngayon, nahalo-halo na sila because syempre, inaccept yung ibang mga yung ibang mga beliefs. And it's called a syncretized belief. So, doon po magkakaroon ng there then you have proof that we had traditions but not necessarily Holy Week traditions na prior to Spanish colonization pagdating doon sa belief practices or shamanistic traditions. Sabi ni June Cesar Maambong, may habol pa kaya yung admin ngayon about doon sa gold na pinautang ni President Marcos sa iba't ibang bansa? if it can be proven, medyo mahirap po yan eh. Bakit pinatagal if it really existed? Lockdown ng Ireland noong December pa lang, sabi ni Miss Ireland. Tapos until April to middle of June pa, 5 kilometers lang kami. Pwede, sobrang stricto dito. Ito ang kulit nito. Can you expound more about the term waves of migration? Sa mismong scientific article na rin na study, ginagamit niya yung term na waves of migration. Meron daw at least 5 waves, sabi ni ano. Okay, sabi ni Max, I think it was ano, because Max is a geneticist. Okay, ang sinasabi na walang waves of migration ay yung mga anthropologists. Ganito po kasi yon. Doon sa mga saang talaga ng term ng waves of migration was supposedly Otley Buyer at marami pong nag-subscribe doon sa kanyang teorya. We don't necessarily use waves of migration, but we think that Doc Max Larena simply meant that yung mga communities from these particular origins, they came here during this particular period. Pag sinasabi natin kasing waves of migration, parang well, waves talaga. But sa archaeology kasi, we set a timeline kailan nag-umpisa yan, tapos they continued. Waves of migration implies going one way kasi pero for archaeologists, usually kung you can go one way, you can also go back. Okay, so we're talking about settlements, but there were also people who would go back, so not necessarily by waves. Yeah. So merong konting how do you call this, controversy about the term that was used by Doc Max, but essentially what he's saying is that these people arrived here at a certain time and continued arriving kung kaya nahalo. They were able to put the genetic markers to particular dates. Well, that more or less dates. Yan. Nag-post na naman si Reza, sabi ni Ma'am Mia, what went wrong with Duterte's pandemic response? Answer ni Teddy Locsin, nothing, other responses. Yes, in Vietnam, Israel, and South Korea. Ano yung ibig sabihin nun? Boss Teddy Boy is probably saying that the same responses were made in other countries, and there are also increasing cases in other countries as well. How about ang nabasa ko na may gold na pinatransfer si... Ay, okay. This one is really very persistent na ano, na rumor, and as much as I don't like the Aquino administration, there is no proof of this. I understand that a case has been filed. Ito yung mga gold na pinatransfer daw ni President Aquino sa Paris at na ilagay sa pangalan niya when he's the president at the time. Paano mabawi ng Pilipino yung mga ganyan? I understand the case was filed with the Office of the Ombudsman, but there was no evidence that could be presented kung kaya it's supposedly dismissed, but I have to double check about that. Either dismissed or in-archive siya pending the submission of additional evidence, or maybe by this time na-dismiss na siya. So, kung wala po tayong ebidensya other than may kwento na ganito, then it's not likely that we can act on it, diba? We don't act on yung sabi, we need evidence. And what is the evidence we need? Of course, the documentary evidence. If something like this was transferred, it's impossible not to have some kind of a paper trail. How was it transported? It implies moving large amounts or large objects or crates of something, and that will require transportation. Transportation doesn't run by itself, and so there are people involved, and so on. So, wag po tayong masyadong nagbabuy into dun sa mga theories na ganyan, kahit ayaw natin dun sa tao, syempre we would always want to we want to be able to act on it based on evidence. Sabi ni Overseas, sorry sa kulit, was just really curious. Yes, but you know, bakit ako yung kinukulit nyo? Max Lorena is on Facebook. But I will repeat, the study that they did, that Max was doing is genetics-based, meaning it's science-based. Now, yung mga waves of migration and so on were used by anthropologists. So not necessarily, they might not have the same import as Doc Max was using. Sabi ni Henar Carlos, magbubukas na po ang mga public schools dito sa LA ngayong April, pero ang mga private schools bukas na sila. So, thank you rin kay Joseph De La Cruz. Oh wow, thank you for your birthday super chat. Maraming salamat. Napanood niyo na po yung video ni Herbert Polanco, tinatanong ni Ram. Hindi ko po sure. Probably not. And what was that about? So, okay, magtatanong ng gano'n. Napanood niyo ba? I'll just say no. And then, walang enlightenment na nangyayari. Natanong ni Marco Balilo, may chance po ba na mapauwi si Joma Season dito sa Pilipinas para dito na siya ikulong forever? Alright. Ano ang status ni Prof. Joma? Ngayon, nagkakamali ang karamihan ng mga tao at sinasabi na nag-grant siya ng asylum. Hindi po totoo yon. He applied for asylum sa Netherlands and it was denied. Tapos nag-appeal siya sa European Union and again it was denied, pero nag-file yata siya ng motion for reconsideration or something like that. Okay? Ngayon, ano yung status niya? Because he's still considered an asylum seeker, merong doctrine called non-refoulement na diniscuss na natin in a previous live. Ang non-refoulement is the obligation of the country where this person who seeks refugee status, so ito yung Netherlands, is not allowed to return him to the country of origin kung may chance na mapapatay or matutorture siya doon or mapapahirapan siya, yung extreme suffering, hardship, ang matatamasa niya kapag pinalik siya. So that is the conundrum right now. Gusto man nating pauwiin, two things run against us: the doctrine of non-refoulement and the fact that wala tayong extradition treaty with the Netherlands. Okay? Sabi ni Israel Tan, sa YouTube may option to pay, tapos mas malaki yung chat mo. Maraming salamat sa abiso. Sabi ni Ophir, Sec Martin, huwag kang mamamatay. Well, Sec Martin says that he is asymptomatic, although nag-positive siya. And we hope he gets well. Sec Martin Andanar announced that nag-positive po siya for COVID, pero I understand that he is asymptomatic and we hope that he gets well soon. We can criticize his style and we can criticize some of these decisions, but we never want any of the president's men or even our own enemies to suffer other than to go through the usual due process of law if they have done something wrong. Okay? Tanong ko lang po, sabi ni Alan Aniceto, kung magkapaltito po ba sila PRRD at Senator Pacquiao at kung totoo na sasabi si Senator Pacquiao sa Wansambayan. Okay. Well, yes, Senator Pacquiao, I think, is still with PDP Laban, but I'm not sure if he's a full member already or he's just acting president right now. And if, ano yung sinasabi na sasapi daw siya sa Wansambayan, well, he's free to do that, but that means he might have to leave PDP Laban. Itong si Ophir, sabi niya, isn't archaeology violating humanitarian law? No po. Because they keep digging the dead resting beneath us and put in museums on display. No rin po. Because normally, archaeology is practiced among the communities that are descendants of the same, or what they call inherit the culture of the persons who were buried there, like in Egypt. And sometimes nagbabago na dahil sa sobrang lawak ng time between the events of their burial and the current time where they're being dug up. It's always a balance between the need for scientific knowledge and the need to understand our origins versus, of course, this the digging up of the dead. There's always the ethical issue at kailangan nire-respeto din natin po yung patay. So mas problematic because there's kumbaga binabalance natin yung interest about finding out our past, which is also essential to human knowledge, and the respect for the dead. Now, mas ah, mas may ethical problem yung kunwari, eto na nga yung final resting place, eto yung lugar, tapos you turn it into a circus, like a tourist destination. So marami sa ating nakakalimot, halimbawa, na like the Holocaust Memorial, there are no people actually buried there, yet it memorializes a very important period in history. So yung pagpapahalaga dun sa period na yon at sa pagkakakilala natin dun sa naganap at sa nangyari sa mga tao dun sa panahon na yun, the genocide that happened, that is what renders the place holy. So it's not necessarily just about human remains, but really also about how it is considered. So, no, it does not violate any law, and archaeology is understood to be a science and as well as both a social and a hard science. So, yes, there are ethical considerations, but in general, the scientific knowledge and the understanding of human origins usually outweighs. But if a community still claims or ties to the people that are being dug up, they can give their consent or withhold it. Uh, Sherwin asks, I think everybody noticed that there's a new doc, Mo-Ron, na nag-iingay ngayon. He has his interpretation about COVID-19. As he claims he is a doctor, pwede bang ma-cite ng work ethics as a doctor kasi iniiba niya ang COVID-19 na di totoo. I think he's more likely liable to be under the Bayanihan Act for spreading false information that might cause panic if it falls into that. Ngayon, isa pa yan, something that we weigh. Remember, yung mga karapatan natin at ang interes ng ating bayan, dito sa we weigh one against the other. Please, Ophir, please don't do all caps. I cannot read them again because it feels like you're shouting, and that's it's part of the ethics. But I did read your previous question. So, dun sa Bucor wall, I'm sorry, I cannot discuss that because I haven't studied the matter yet. Now, we're talking about the doctor. Sabi, if he is causing panic, then he can be liable under the Bayanihan Act and possibly under RA 11332, the Mandatory Reporting of Infectious Diseases Law. That being said, we're always balancing the freedom of speech versus the prevailing interest. So kung dito, in the interests of health or in public order, kung nakaka-cause na siya ng damage, then yes, he can be sued. He can be, if he's a locally licensed doctor, then he can, there can be an administrative case filed against him. But this is always subject to whatever it is he actually said and its effect on people or possible effect on people. Okay? He's not a real doctor, sabi ni Sir Robert Nocum. He's PT, feeling doctor lang. Well, those with PhDs are also called doctors. So, iba din yan. Thank you kay Josie Plaza. Ayun, sabi ni Ophir, pwede ko nang basahin. Pag naging presidente si Pacquiao, magiging puppet president siya ni Chavez. Well, it's all speculation. Sa ganito lang yung para sa akin. Oy, thank you kay Ma'am Marilyn Mariana. For me, what we have, and I agree with some of your criticism, but I think what we have to weigh is, you're right about capability, experience, all of that is going to be weighed against whoever the other candidates are. So yun din. I don't like to, because I actually like Senator Manny. I'm not sure if I want him to be president, but that's why I don't like to take anything personally. I do have something against the people that he's using or the people who surround him kasi like meron sarili siyang yung isang spokes ng partido na who is very pro money, who is already attacking the government, which I think is very bad taste. Physical therapist daw yung PT, yes. Whining and complaining pa rin mga tao sa chat box while watching press briefing ni PRRD. Ginagawa naman ng gobyerno ang lahat. Oh, but remember what Franco Mabanta said. Nag-hire na po ng troll farms ang ibang mga media entities like certain newspapers. They hire troll farms to comment on their own page. Tapos, and it's may killing, of course, sasabihan nila yung mga trolls, ganito, dapat more negative comments against this person and so on. So sometimes some of those troll farms are hired out to troll, let's say, the president's address and so on. It's all what we call smoke and mirrors. It's all about kung ano yung perception ng mga tao. They think na kapag pagka kinulit ng kinulit yung mga ganon, they might be able to create the impression na maraming taong ayaw na sa presidente. But of course, we know that's not true. Ah. Sabi ni Christopher Soriano na-mention po kayo sa program ng DZAR 2 days ago. Okay, I hope it wasn't too bad. Sabi ni Ma'am Sambuanga Hermosa Files, yes, naku, nawala yung comment niya. Ayan, si VP 50 fake accounts, malaki bayad sa trolls. Wow, ang lagay na yan, may fake accounts na. Tapos poor pa rin yung ratings niya, ilan pa rin lang ang nanonood ng kanyang radio program, di ba? Parang yung kay Banat Bay at kay Maharlika, sabi ni Yushan, nakakatawa kasi ini-insight sila mag-comment about something na matatamaan yung mga magkabilang panig. Ayun, Giera Patani. Oo, so wag rin po tayo sa mga ganyan, do not draw other people into it, especially not yung mga bloggers with really large followings like sina TP, sina Banat, and all of that. Huwag naman natin pag-awayin ng isa't isa. Yes, I know, popcorn moment para sa atin ng mga bored dito sa bahay or mga nakikichismis. Pero, I don't really like the idea na nag-aaway sila. Sabi ni Sherwin, thank you. Kasi if you are going to watch his videos now all over the net, his own opinion, but pushing and destroying the Duterte administration, it sounds like he's discouraging people to get the vaccine. He claims he's a doctor from the US. All right, so if his speech becomes very dangerous speech, then he can be and should be reported. But if he's simply expressing an opinion at wala namang naniniwala sa kanya, then maybe it might be better to just let it be, di ba? Baka wala naman din far-reaching influence, and I don't mean that as anything negative, because pag binasa natin yung batas, the possibility of people believing him is one of those things that the law enforcers and the judge will take into consideration, di ba? Sabi ni Paolo Aranjo, ano pong thoughts ninyo sa, oh my goodness, kung paano nakaka-apekto ang international relations sa COVID-19 vaccines? International relations. All right, what do you mean exactly? Ma'am Helen Bratter, thank you. What do you mean, how does it affect international relations? Unless you're talking about, well, di ba, nakapila tayo for vaccines. Ngayon, there's certain countries na sinasabi nila, hindi. Kung saan yung manufacturer niyan, they have to service the local country because this is their nationality, the nationality of the corporation. So sila daw muna ang unahin. There are some comments pa nga from some public officials in other countries na nakikita natin sinasabi na, make your own vaccine. Bakit kayo nakikiagaw sa amin? Kami muna. So yes, it does affect us. It affects international relations. But the nice thing about diplomacy is that we can compartmentalize. Halimbawa, we're grateful that China gives us vaccines. They have donated vaccines to us and they have allowed us to buy, di ba? And sa China kasi mabilis yung production because they were one of the first to be able to do that. So mas malaki yung chance natin that we can get the Sinovac and Sinopharm faster or earlier. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that we're not going to protest the massing of Chinese vessels on the Julian Felipe Reef. So you can compartmentalize. You can object to the ships in our EEZ, but you can also be grateful for the vaccine. So that's how diplomacy works. You don't denounce a country over only one issue unless that issue shakes your very existence, kumbaga threatens your very existence. Diba? Sabi ni Jex Advineda, yung AstraZeneca na harang ng Italy, yung supply, dapat para sa kanila daw yun sa Australia. Wow. Ako, it's going to be the vaccine wars. Ito yung mas maganda sanang solution is to allow a licensing agreement so that local manufacturers can make the vaccine. I-waive na muna yung parang trademark or yung exclusivity ng mga naka-discover ng vaccine, just so that makahabol yung production, and then after that to expire the licenses, and then we will source back again from the companies, or i-license nila ang mga local manufacturers, tapos a certain amount goes to them. So there are many ways to go around this. I hope that they get a move on this one. Bakit parang wala tayong masyadong ginagawang action sa issue ng Myanmar? Sabi ni, oh my gosh, nawawala. Ayan. Hirap maghabol. Sandali ha. Ayan. Bakit parang wala tayong masyadong ginagawang action sa issue ng Myanmar, knowing na member state sila ng ASEAN? President Widodo calls for a meeting, pero how will it impact us internationally kung magkaroon ng civil war sa Burma? Alright. First of all, anong action ang ini-expect nyo? Because Myanmar is an independent and sovereign state. It will not take kindly into foreign intervention. If you're asking the Philippines to act, di ba? Even making a statement against the military government that is in place in Myanmar, we have to think about it, because that is actually what will affect our relations with a fellow ASEAN member. All right. Ngayon, ang UN, remember, they want to take direct action into Myanmar, and that will affect its sovereignty. Ang Pilipinas, ang vote natin, we stand with Aung Suu Kyi, and we agree that she should be released along with other members of her cabinet and her government, but we do not endorse an intervention because it violates the sovereignty of that state. Okay? What we usually do is we accept refugees, diba, from other countries. We don't necessarily have to intervene into the internal affairs of another sovereign state, because we would resent it if that was done to us. Diba? Pagka nakikialam, madalas tayo sinasabi natin, oh US, bakit kayo nakikialam sa amin? O pagka may nagsalita na isang bayan na, oh itong si Duterte, ganito siya, may violations ng human rights. Ano yung sagot natin? Mind your own beeswax. Diba? So that's how we should also be careful when dealing with other sovereign states. Hindi po natin ginugusto na mag-intervene sa ganon. Sabi ni Alan Aniceto, pasensya na pero tanong ko lang, dati kasi kasama sa IATF si Doc Liachon. Ano po nangyari at hindi na po siya kasama? Napag-initan po ba siya? Seems he's a good doctor naman po. There was a controversy, I'm trying to remember what it was, that he was removed because he was pushing for something. I need some time to review that, but I do remember that there was a controversy and so he was removed. He also admitted that he wanted to become Secretary of Health. And he still continues to say that he wants to be appointed in government to help out. So that's one of those controversies. I have to go back and look at it para mabigyan kita ng maayos na sagot. For those asking me to block people, I'm going to have a difficult time right now doing that, but I will later on as soon as you can manage all of these things. Kasi nga, wala si Attorney Ahmed ngayon, he's busy in the backyard, if I'm not mistaken. And normally, sinasabayan niya ako and he'll take care of all of the spammers and all of that. But the problem is, hindi natin magawa po yan right now. So, yeah, I'll do that later. Okay. Yun. Let me see. Sabi ni Erwin Arellano, halimbawa patuloy pa rin na malala ang sitwasyon nitong pandemic hanggang 2022 May elections. Is there a possibility that President could postpone the national elections? What is the scenario? The President cannot postpone any elections. It has to be Congress because they have to make a law to do that. And there has to be time for them to do that. AC National, I'm going to ask that you don't write in all caps, but I will read your question for now. Any news dun sa 14th month pay bill ng Congress and Senate? Malaking tulong sana sa private employees? Wala pa po. Happy birthday, sabi ni Ricky Ayado. Yung bang pangalan ng West Philippine Sea ba yung persistent objector doctrine? Bakit niyo tinatanong yan? No, ganito. Well, mahabang ano yan. I think we'll set another live for that one. Okay? All right. Let me see. Block user. O, ayan. Okay na kayo. Nag-block user na tayo. Okay, there we go. Si natitigil tayo, if you're going to ask me to do the blocking myself, then natitigil yung discussion. Sabi ni Arlan Havillo, just a question, and I know you will not run kahit anong government seat, pero ano yung bagay na makakapagpatakbo sa'yo to run for Senate? ₱1 billion? Because I don't have any money to run for anything. I don't think I will be financially capable of doing that. Okay? Sabi ni Red October, yung kay Liachon, isa pang issue is yung mga official announcements ng IATF, nauuna pa siya, sinasabi niya sa FB Live niya. Yes, you really should not do that. And in some instances, there can be a criminal and administrative case attached to doing something like that. Thank you kay Ma'am Marites Lucas. Nag-happy birthday siya. Ano po forecast ninyo, sabi ni James Bong, about sa magiging action ni Duterte matapos ang term niya? What do you mean? He's going to enjoy being a lolo and his kids, his grandchildren, because all his kids are in position. Two of them are in politics, and well, three of them, sorry, are all in politics. And I think he's just going to enjoy being a lolo for a while. Diba? That's if he doesn't run. Diba? Expansion page. Joe O'Hara says, we can fund you at any marami kami. I don't think so talaga, sir. Seriously. It really costs an insane amount of money, and I don't think I can afford that. And I don't think I want to ask people to do that for me. Diba? I'm not in a position to ask people to do that for me. I'm not sure if I will be able to. Well, the other thing is I'm not sure if, it's different from being a commentarist and you're on the outside looking in. Will I be as good when I'm on the inside? That's something that I also have to evaluate with myself. Kaya ko ba yun? Diba? Iba syempre yung sa labas, parang ang gagaling natin kasi babaklasin natin yung mga arguments and all of that. But once you're in there and you're subjected to all of the political pressures, will we still be as effective? So that's something we have to evaluate. I am not sure really about that. And of course, the money is a huge thing. Yeah. I don't know if it is even fair for me to ask people to contribute until I am really sure that I can do even a half-assed job of it. And it's not fair to run for office if I don't think I am capable, or if I'm not yet sure I'm capable of doing that. Okay, if ever po sa susunod na administration, which is okay kayo, would you accept? Ano yan? If going kayong legal counsel ng admin. Well, it really depends. Legal counsel. You mean presidential advisor or something? I think we're going to have to make an evaluation based on exactly what position is being offered. Ganito yan. I plan to continue serving in a private capacity, but if called into public service, we will evaluate if ever that happens. Hindi tayo magsasalita ng tapos because for all you know, it might be something that I want to do. Like, nasa NCCA, I want to go back. That won't be bad. I might consider that because I know that I've had experience with that agency and it will be fairly easy for me to evaluate kung kakayanin ko. Ngayon, kung ibang position, then we have to study some more. Diba? Sabi ni Dan, ang archaeology ba ay pwedeng mag-evolve sa mga paranormal activity? My professors do not encourage. May chance po bang magkaroon ng batas na puwede ng Facebook na ibawal ang mga sponsored ads na ang laman ay isang propaganda sa darating na eleksyon sa 2022? Well, I think Facebook is considering a policy on that. So let's wait for that to happen first. Okay. Ah, okay. Huwag niyo pong dalhin yung away ng mga vloggers dito sa ating comment like I said, it's okay to express your opinions, pero ayoko sanang pinag-aaway yung dalawa. I don't think it's productive eh. Maybe we can comment on our own walls about which side is we think is more fair. And that's okay, pero wag naman po dito. And I don't really like, parang nagyayaya tayo ng mga tao na makikulo dun sa away nila. And I don't think it's fair either to them or even to us because we have other things that we need to talk about and to find out about and to learn. Kasi may participation tayo, di ba? Para bahagi kasi tayo, 'di ba? We're all part of this nation. At kapag tayo nagpo-political commentary, nakikialam tayo sa mga desisyon ng gobyerno, sa mga activities ng gobyerno, even merely by criticizing or praising or commenting, then we are part of nation building. So mahalaga din po yung ginagawa nating ganito. And I don't want to be to be sidetracked by personal issues or yung mga issues that can be talked about naman in their own walls, and I think underneath all of it is still nation building. They're just sometimes nadadamay lang yung personal. So wag na natin i-encourage yung mga ganon. We admire both sides, and we are thankful for the work that both of them have done for this administration. Hindi natin gusto yung pinag-aaway sila. Ayun, pwede tayo yung makichismis ba? Because the chismosa in me really wants to know what's going on, but I don't want them to fight. Okay. Tinatanong ni Dencio Lipot, saan ako nag-law school? Sa UP po. Tinatanong ni Dan kung may karambola bukas. Opo, si Boss Jonat lang po. Solo siya tomorrow. I will see if I can be there either on Wednesday or Thursday. Silang ha, because normally bakasyon ang karambola. Kaya nga sinasabi ko magla-live na lang tayo kasi parang kakapagod magkarambola during the Holy Week. Sabi ni Ricky Ayado, pwede bang i-legislate ang first mass? No, we don't legislate historical records, or we don't legislate even interpretations of history. Parang we don't legislate curriculum. We don't want to tell people what to teach. And in this case, what if magbago yung discoveries natin? Now you will have a conflict between fact and law. Hindi natin pinapakialaman yan. Let's wait for the historians to make the final evaluations, which of course has to have the imprimatur of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Okay? Okay, last two. Naitanong ko lang po tungkol kay Doc Liachon, sabi ni Alan, kasi parang may mga good points siyang sinasabi sa kanyang FB Live. Baka gusto lang niyang tulungan ng government natin, lalo na sa problema sa COVID. Wala naman tayong issue with people who want to help. We always welcome help, di ba? Our government should at any rate. Pero minsan kasi, if he's not capable of being a team player, then it might be difficult to get him back in government. Sabi ni Ida Galdiano, ramdam ko bilang follower mo ang paggalang nyo. I feel proud in your loop because of your patience to deliver the side of the truth of the issues. You resolve to look at things objectively and for choosing the path of dignity. What a class act. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. Natuwa na naman ako dun sa mga comments niya. Thank you very much. Please don't think na kayo lang yung natututo when we do discussions like this. Ako din po natututo. Maraming nagko-contribute. There are things here that I don't know and then people point them out, or issues that I know I should study or I didn't know and then now I know that I have to study them. So, also, meron din the fact lang that people ask certain questions makes me study harder so that hindi naman nakakahiya yung mga tanong na mga sagot na bibigay ko, 'di ba? So I would really like to tell everybody na hindi po lang kayo yung nakikinabang sa ganito. Ako din po, and I'm so grateful to everybody na may ganito tayong plataforma na nakakapag-discuss tayo, nakikita natin kung ano yung mga dapat iliwanag o i-clarify kasi minsan 'di ba sa bilis ng mga pangyayari hindi parating maayos ang government communications, hindi rin parating maayos yung yung for instance when the court it delivers it makes statements, sometimes it makes decisions and all that, the lawyers will be talking, pero sometimes you just need the perspective of the chismoso dun sa labas niya, ano nangyayari? Parang ganon. And so that's what we try to do. We ask from those who are watching but are not aware exactly of what's going on, then that's what we will do. We will find out what's going on to the best of our capability, di ba? Sometimes siniswerte tayo, ang dami-dami nating insider information. Other times, siniswerte din tayo kasi ang dami-daming dokumento that are just floating around on the internet. And so we're lucky pag kami mga ganon. Sir Bobby says, regards to Attorney Ahmed, nakatikim ba ng strawberry tart? Oy, available yon, hindi lang kwento yung inabot niya sa akin. Kaya lang, kumain muna siya ng dinner, so malamang mamayang gabi pa siya makakapag-strawberry tart. Maraming salamat, Sir Bobby. We always appreciate it. At saka maraming salamat at sinabihan niyo si Attorney Ahmed kasi now I won't eat all the strawberries at leave him the tart. Last time yata yun ang ginawa ko. Sabi ni Jack Swang, I like this comment. I think Liachon is a bit bitter, though he had good points before. Typical supervillain backstory. Very well said. Thank you. I love these comments. Thank you kay Rolando Sabilla. Happy birthday daw. Anniversary din daw nila ni Mrs. Anna. I suppose Sabilla. Happy anniversary po. Dami pa rin nag-happy birthday. Also, for those who are watching the replay, yes, today is March 29th. In addition to being my birthday, it is also the birthday of the New People's Army. So, before tayo bumalik sa bakbakan against the communist terrorist groups, gusto ko magpasalamat sa lahat ng mga taong bumati sa akin. Of course, you've seen, no, medyo nakakakilig yung iba talaga. But that doesn't mean na any less different, lahat po kayo na mga followers na appreciate namin kahit yung simpleng happy birthday na binibigay nyo, and it's very, how do you call this, satisfying talaga to see the greetings and for you to be taking the time out to say happy birthday. Maraming salamat po. I just want you to know that everybody's greetings mean quite a lot to me. Especially on this. The last few weeks kasi mainit ang ulo ko, hindi ko alam kung bakit. But it seems that ang dami-dami kasi palang sutil. And then I realized that because it's election season, there are people really who just go out of their way to make you angry for either because they get off on it or they're paid to do that. But now I think I have a better perspective, and I would like to thank everybody for this perspective because, in the greater scheme of things, we just really should be standing together continuously so that we can make this a better country. And without you, there is no country. Even kayo yung mga OFWs, yung mga dual citizens, people who are no longer here in the Philippines but already live abroad, you're still helping us build the country, and we appreciate all your efforts and the fact na interesado pa rin kayo dito sa mga pangyayari sa bayan ninyo. And of course, para dun sa mga nagtitiis kasama ko dito sa Pilipinas, hindi ko kasi kinoconsider na tiis because I've had the option to leave the country and I keep coming back. Mahirap talagang iwan ng Pilipinas. Yung iba nga, nakaalis na't lahat, hirap pa rin, andito pa rin yung thoughts nila. So, there's a reason why we all came from this place because we all have a role to play, big or small. So gusto ko rin magpasalamat sa lahat ng tao na who continuously keep this country together simply by being interested and remaining interested in it. Maraming salamat. Uy, thank you kay Linus Kyle. May pahabol pa siya sa sa super sticker. Okay. So, birthday wish ko and request ko sa inyong lahat, if the super chat and the super stickers and the PayPal notwithstanding, kung pwede, please don't get sick. Okay? You do whatever you need to do to keep well and healthy, because we are in this together. We'll be live again at siguro as much as possible over the Holy Week. Wala namang ibang gagawin, but we'll do it at different times. So again, thank you very, very much everybody for being here and for for everything. Everything that you have done. Ay, thank you kay John. Ako nakahabol pa. Ma'am Pinay Paparazzi, sa ngalan ng mga sutil, maligayang kaarawan. Sorry, I love it. Totoo yan. Ang mga followers dito sa YouTube at saka sa Facebook, I think we really deserve a title. Sutil na sutil, and sometimes we use the term hampas lupa because we are. Di ba? We're as ordinary as they come. And we're very, very proud of that. Kailangan bang Donya, para to make a difference in this country? The Katipunan wasn't made up of ilustrados alone. There were some. But the vast majority were ordinary Filipinos who felt the brunt of colonization later on and the problems of secularization and policy servicios. So, maraming salamat talaga sa And now, thank you very much. I'm now looking for my exit button, which as usual, nawala na naman. Maraming salamat, everybody. Have a good night. Ang karambola bukas, si Boss John at malamang mag-isa with Sir Edwin. So we'll see you tomorrow, possibly in the afternoon, for another live session. Chika uli. Thank you very much. And it was a really good birthday. Thank you. Thank you very much for everybody's greetings and everything that you have sent us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you again.